Now, Eric Cantor used to be the House Majority Leader before he was crushed by Dave Brott. Now, Dave Brott ran against him and obviously beat him, but he did so in a very interesting way. You see, he actually ran against the banks. We gave him some credit for that because he ran as a populist, and nobody likes the banks. That's something that both Democrats and Republicans can agree on, is the banks are screwing us over. And it really shows you how unpopular they are and how a populist can arise on the right by going after financial institutions. Okay. Now, another thing that Cantor did, which was popular with the Republican base, was also run on repealing Obamacare, the ACA. In fact, he couldn't wait to repeal Obamacare. He tried so much that he ended up bringing dozens of repeal bills to the House floor. He also spearheaded the Defund Obamacare campaigns, all during the Obama administration. Of course, it had during that time, it had no chance of passing. Now, that strategy, however, even though it didn't bear fruit, was actually incredibly effective in other ways. Now, when you combine it with the weakness of the Democrats and how they didn't push for something that would actually help improve the ACA or go to a Medicare for all system, or push at least for a public option, which I think would have helped Obamacare immensely. Then people can buy into Medicare or Medicaid, for example, whatever way you go. And Medicaid's actually far more expansive and covers more than Medicare does. Well, people would be like, hey, this Obamacare is not so bad. I mean, at least I get this public option. And guess what? I prefer the public option. So, but the Democrats, again, they were fairly weak on this issue and just played defense. And they played it very, very poorly. Now, because of that, and because of the unpopularity of the ACA, being as it is a right-wing plan, turns out the Republican Party had quite a few victories. First in 2010, then 2014, and then, of course, Donald Trump, 2016. Okay. So that's what we already knew. We already knew all that. Now, what we didn't know, but we actually kind of suspected, is that Eric Cantor and actually a lot of the Republicans, it turns out they didn't actually believe that they would ever get to repeal Obamacare. Now, this is amazing, right? Now, how do I know this for a fact? Well, it's because I actually talked to Eric Cantor, and they got it essentially from the horse's mouth. Now, the former GOP leader recently talked to the Washingtonian, the Washingtonian's Elena Plott. And during that interview, he pretty much spilled the beans. Yeah, we didn't think that we were going to repeal Obamacare. We weren't actually serious about this. He said that parts of the conservative base do expect the party to repeal the ACA. And it's because of what he and the other leaders had promised. And what's interesting is that he and his colleagues had never actually intended to keep those promises. Now, if he was asked if he felt partly responsible for the Republicans' current predicament of them not being able to pass not only Trump Care or a full repeal of Obamacare, which you can't do anyway, or even a skinny repeal of Obamacare, when asked if he felt responsible for that, he said, oh, 100%. It looks like I overpromised. And I actually got these rubes, these voters, riled up. And look, that helped us. Maybe not me personally, because I got crushed by Dave Brott, who also promised, even more so, to go after Obamacare, said I was weak on repealing Obamacare. Because I didn't even mean it. I guess that's true. Yeah, he says, yeah, look, it's my fault. Partly my fault, but we all kind of knew. He goes further. He said, to give the impression that if Republicans were in control of the House and Senate, that we could do that when Obama was still in office. His voice trails off and he shakes his head. Quote, I never believed it. Look, all he did is that, hey, man, we played politics against the other side. We knew that all we were doing was fucking around. We never realized that we're actually going to get the reins of power. I mean, sure, we could have actually addressed the real problems of the ACA by working with the Democrats, but no. What we're going to do, we're just going to fuck around in order to get victories, in order to play politics, get electoral victories, because that's all we care about. We don't actually care about the voters. We don't actually care about people who have enormous deductibles and can't actually afford health insurance, even though they're paying their premiums. So they can't afford their health care, they pay their premiums, and they're begging for somebody to help them out. GOP says, yeah, sure, we can help you. We'll repeal Obamacare, just vote for us. Oh, you actually did that? Oh, shit, now we actually got to govern. Oh, God, what do we do? Skinny repeal. Let's throw together a plan, real quick, Trump care. They never intended on helping you. They don't care about you. They never cared about you. And look, all this is after the Democrats bent over to get Republicans. Well, I shouldn't say, well, maybe I should say bend over, but I was going to say they bent backwards to get Republican votes. That meant, of course, dropping the public option, dropping price controls, and other things that could have been in that bill that would have actually made it much better. They didn't do that. They tried to get, of course, Republican votes. And interestingly enough, this plan, Obamacare, was actually just Romney Care, the Heritage Foundation. So it was their plan anyway. And they still voted against it. It's kind of funny that here's Obama, ran as a progressive, ran to change healthcare, had a good idea with the public option, but decided, you know what? In his infinite wisdom, he is going to steal their healthcare plan and use it and think, okay, if we only use their healthcare plan and we make it very conservative, as conservative as they want it to be, they'll vote for it. Well, how'd that work out? Not very well. But anyway, we got the ACA, and it's got good parts in it. It's got some bad parts in it. And we got it with 0 Republican votes. Now, of course, they're beating us over the head with it right now. Oh, my God. See, we didn't get, like, the Democrats didn't reach out to us. I mean, how many Republican votes did did Obamacare get? None. So why should we have to reach out to the Democrats? Obama gave every chance for the Republicans to go in and actually work on healthcare. See, the Democrats, they're not strong like the Republicans. That's one of the problems. Republicans will steamroll you if they have the power. Democrats, they're conciliatory. And look, at a normal government, in a functional democracy, that would actually work. But we don't live in a functional democracy. We live in an oligarchy. So we've got rich people essentially paying other rich people to make rules that help rich people. So that's what we're living in. And so we're not in a functional democracy. So the system is incredibly broken. Now, anyway, look, the House led by Cantor, who, again, voted against the passage of the ACA, right after it happened, said, okay, let's repeal it. In fact, that was their major goal from day one. Let's get rid of the ACA and also try to make Obama a one-term president. All we're going to do is we're going to sit and play obstruction and play politics. Now, but just as he said, they never believed it. He never believed it. He never thought that they would actually try to repeal this thing. And furthermore, of course, everybody was in on it. He said, we all sort of got what was going on, that there was this disconnect in terms of communication. Because no one wanted to take the time out in the general public to even think about, wait a minute, that can't happen. But he adds, if you've got that anger working for you, you're going to let it be. Basically, yeah, we just took advantage of you. We took advantage of your anger and for politics. We played you as suckers. We got you all riled up and mad, and then we used it to win electoral victories so we can get paid by our donors. Again, we weren't here to help you. We're here to help ourselves. We're here to help our donors. And look, the worst thing about it is, as you see, it worked. It worked. Now, if you're a Republican voter who voted for people who actually thought that these guys were going to help you by fixing or repealing the ACA, which I don't know how that you think that it would help you, but okay, maybe it would in some circumstances. I don't know. Do you not feel stupid? Because you probably should. Especially when some of them didn't even realize that what they were railing against, Obamacare, was actually helping them. Was actually the insurance that they were receiving. Look, for example, let me give you an example. Kentucky, right? Now, Kentucky had Connect, which was the most successful insurance exchange in the entire country. So much so that Mitch McConnell, when he was running for re-election, he ran on protecting Connect. Oh, I'm going to protect the health insurance exchange in Kentucky because we know how popular it is. Everybody loves it. My opponent over here, well, they're not going to protect it. They're going to give you Obamacare, but I'm going to protect Connect. Okay, so that's what that happened. Now, here's the thing. He couldn't wait to actually get rid of the law, the mechanism that made Connect possible, which is the ACA. And yet, of course, people in Kentucky, a lot of them low information voters, exposed to Fox News and conservative media, steady diet of that, they didn't realize that the ACA was the same thing as Obamacare. So they go around and be like, oh, I love Connect. I actually got affordable health insurance through Connect, or, I got Medicaid or whatever. I love it. But I hate that Obamacare. Keep me away from that. That's socialism. That's terrible. Like, ugh. And then, of course, some of them later found out that, oh, shit, Obamacare is the ACA. The ACA is Obamacare. I was just railing against my own healthcare plan. Fuck. I have made a terrible mistake. And that's what happened. So, look, they played off fear. They played off ignorance. They played off racism. I mean, let's be honest. Part of the reason that a lot of people don't like Obamacare is simply it's got Obama in the name. Okay. And now, look, here's Cantor out there saying, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you're pretty much right about that. The anger was there, and we just used it. We're politicians. What do you expect? You expect us to represent you? No, that's not what we do. And they wrote off that anger just to get elected. And they didn't even know that it was going to work. But it did. And now, as you've seen, they have no plan. No plan whatsoever. Now, look, the bullshit that they threw together, not a plan. Okay? It's just like, I don't know, let's pick the most conservative things from the Heritage Foundation and let's throw it together. Let's call it a healthcare plan. And it's no wonder that, of course, the CBO trashes it every time. Because it starts by throwing 24 million people, 23 million, 22 million people. The skinny repeal, somewhere around, 15 million people. And raising premiums by 20%. Exactly the opposite of what they've been promising for years. We'll repeal Obamacare, replace it with something that's going to be cheaper, that's going to have freedom, and then, it's just going to be better for America. Hasn't really came true, okay? So what they've thrown together is nothing more than a desperate attempt to look like that they're actually doing something so they don't get destroyed at the polls. So there's the truth of it. There's the truth behind the Republicans' repeal and replace effort. And it's not coming from me. It's coming from one of your own. If you're a Republican, you should be really pissed at the party right now. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.